Hey guys, today we're going to talk about overtraining. There's a lot of confusion on what overtraining actually is and how it occurs. So today I'm going to explain it for you. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so there's two terms you're going to want to know to get a good understanding on this. And one is overreaching and one is overtraining. Now quite simply, both of these are just when you're training at such an intensity or volume that your body is not able to adequately recover between each session. So let's say you train so hard that on the next session you're not able to perform the same amount of weight, or you're actually weaker, or your muscles have not fully recovered so you can't perform as many reps. That's essentially what's happening when you start overreaching or overtraining. Now, overreaching is something that's actually used in the strength industry as a form of getting more optimal results or increasing strength even faster. So simply put, you will purposely train with more volume, which is sets, reps, and weight, leading up over a 4-week period till you get to the point where performance starts to decrease, meaning weights start to feel heavy and sets start to get hard to get through and motivation starts to decrease. Now, this is technically overreaching. You're not overtraining yet. This is the beginning, and we call this overreaching. Now, with a strength training program, the goal would be to reach this stage of overreaching, because you then follow it up with what's called a deload week, which essentially means you cut your volume by 50%, you still lift, but it gives your muscles a chance to recover, which means after that, you're going to come back even stronger with better gain. So that's overreaching. Now, overtraining is when you're not following a program, maybe you don't have as good a guidance and you're just in the gym doing your own thing, or you're just refusing to follow the warning signs. And overreaching is when you continuously train once you've started to decrease performance. So reps are starting to get harder to get, sets are harder to get through, you can't move as much weight, you're feeling weaker, you're clearly not recovering. This is overreaching. And if you continue to train past this point, now you've done what's called overtraining. At this point, either you're training too much for your muscles or your CNS, which is your central nervous system, to recover between sessions. You're actually decreasing your performance. You're getting weaker and weaker, and you're actually losing muscle tissue from overtraining because you're performing too much volume compared to the amount of recovery that your body is able to perform, which comes down to obviously your rest, your sleep, your nutrition. Now, I'm sure you've heard this big myth that if you train more than once a week, it's overtraining. You've probably even said it a few times yourself. Now, this can be true, but what you've got to look at again is the variables and the bigger picture. So I'll break it down a little bit for you. In fitness, there's no absolutes. So the problem is most people train so hard on, let's say, Monday, International Chest Day, that their chest is still sore and hasn't fully recovered till a week later, so they train again. Now remember, overtraining happens when you train too much volume, too much stimulus in between sessions. So they give themselves a whole week to recover. Now then, it's obvious that the idea that if they throw in a second session, maybe midweek on Thursday, and try and hit chest again, there's no way they're going to be able to perform at a high enough intensity and actually be able to create muscle growth. Now here's the problem. They're not thinking about the bigger picture, which is the actual total training volume. For example, you could half the amount of volume that you did on your Monday session, be able to recover and train again on Thursday if you only did half the amount of volume. Instead of saying doing 30 sets on Monday and then waiting a week to train, you could do 15 sets on Monday and 15 sets again on Thursday. Now this is really simply trying to make you see that it's about the amount of volume, the sets, reps, and weight you use, not just the amount of days you step in the gym. Just because you step in the gym a second day doesn't mean instantly you're going to be overtraining, you can't see any growth. You have to control the variables above that. Now, why would you even want to train more than once a week? Well, if you're a natural, you 100% want to be training a muscle group more than once a week, ideally 2 or 3 times. And that's because there's this thing called muscle protein synthesis, which is simply the hormonal responses which cause your muscle to grow. Now, that only stays elevated up to 72 hours after a given weight session. So if you train chest on 8 p.m. on Monday, by Thursday at 8 p.m., that muscle's not growing anymore. So from Thursday till Monday again, when you train again, you're not getting any more growth on your chest. That's a huge missed opportunity to get as much growth as possible. But the problem is you're training too hard to be able to train twice a week. You're missing out on this growth response. So as a natural, your idea is you want to train enough to stimulate muscle growth, get the hell out of the gym, get home, recover, and come back and train again 2 to 3 days later. So, like I said, the bigger picture is controlling those variables, controlling the amount of sets, reps, and weight that you use. So instead of beating the shit out of your chest on a Monday and waiting a whole week to train it again, you should go in and just perform more than you've done before. 1 rep, one set, 1 kilo more than last session will be enough to stimulate that muscle growth. Then you go home, you eat, you recover, and you come back and do the same thing 72 hours later. Now you've got 2 growths in 1 week for that specific muscle instead of 1. It's far more efficient and you're gonna get much better results for it. So that's about training smarter for you guys. That's about periodization, which I'll do another video on. And if I've already done it, I'll link it up somewhere here for you guys to see and go have a look at it. It'll be in the description below. So just remember that you can't just blanket black and white say what is overtraining and what is not. What's far more important is about the bigger picture and what you're doing in a total week. You can be overtraining if you're doing 100 sets on your chest and you can't recover by the next Monday. Or you could train every single day and just do 1 set of bench press and it's not overtraining. These are the things you have to look at, that there's many different ways in order for you to see your results. But training once a week is not optimal. Ideally, 2 to 3 times per week is where you want to be with your training. Now, obviously that means it's not the same old training if you hit one body part every single day, which isn't efficient. If you're not keeping up with today's research, you know you should be splitting it up into something more like, say, a push-pull leg situation, where you're hitting your chest, shoulders, and triceps on one day, you hit your back and biceps on another day, and then hit your legs on another day, and repeat that through. That would be a 6-day-a-week split. You hit each muscle group twice. That's a way you can set it up to see much better results like that, but that'll come in my periodization video. Today, I really just wanted to address the problem of overtraining, how it actually occurs and what it actually means. So remember, overtraining is simply when you train too hard that you're not able to adequately recover between 2 sessions. So if you train on a Monday and then you come back and you try and train next Monday and you're weaker and you're not able to do more than last time, something's up with recovery and you're training too hard. That's the only time overtraining occurs. You can train as many times as you want in a week, as long as you're controlling the training variables of the total volume you're having and your recovery. That's what it actually comes down to, not the amount of days that you train. That's a much bigger picture, much bigger issue than just the amount of days you train in a week, guys. So hopefully that was helpful. Again, if you did like this video, please like or comment below. If you've got some topics you want to cover, make sure you mention in comments below. I'll definitely get to it for you guys. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be up to date with all the videos that come out. If you want to keep up to me on a daily basis, follow me on Snapchat. The handle is mdogs91. And you can keep up with me and my daily tips all the time. So I'll catch you in the next video, guys.